So now I request Mr. Deepak John to kindly introduce our esteemed speaker.
Yeah, thank you, Sajani. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for being part of the Satsang today. I'm very happy to introduce our speaker for today, who's Dr. Pashupati Stephen Landau, MD. Dr. Landau is board certified in the family practice in the United States. He's also known as Acharya Pashupati in the Ananda Marga. He was a board member of the Yoga Alliance in the US for 6 years during its early development. In addition to being considered an expert in allopathic or modern medicine, he's also trained in homeopathy, Ayurveda, and naturopathy. He graduated from Harvard College and Temple University School of Medicine. He currently resides in North Carolina and visits India and other countries frequently to train yoga teachers, as well as participate in relief efforts with the Ananda Marga Universal Relief Team. He's the son of Holocaust survivors, and he has performed many times on stage with his mother, Bina Landau, in Israel as well as in the US. He enjoys singing and playing songs of his Jewish tradition, along with those of India, Russia, France, and Latin America. So with that, I'd like to hand it over to Dr. Landau. Thank you for being with us here today, and we look forward to your talk.
And it's over to you, Doctor.
Hear you. We can't hear you because you muted yourself.
We can't hear you. You're on mute, I think.
Okay, now?
Yeah, it's okay now.
Clear.
I will begin with a prayer of sorts from my Ananda Marga tradition. Sangachadvahang Samvadadvang Sangvo Manang Sijanatam Deva Bhagan Jata Purve Sanjanana Upasate Samani Vayakuti Samana Hridaya Nivaha Samana Mastu Manu Yatavaha Susansati. Let us all move together. Let us all sing together. Let us come to know our minds together. Let us share like sages of the past, enjoying the fruits of the universe at the various festivals. Uniting our intentions, let our hearts be inseparable. Our mind is as one mind, as we to truly know one another, become one. And I pay my obeisances to my Guru Deva, Sri Sri Anandamurti, whose picture you see in back of me, and who is always looking over my shoulder. So let us begin. I am presuming that I have an hour of time, although that may not be true. So please tell me what my time constraints are exactly.
Yes, you have about 1 hour.
Okay, fine. And then people can ask questions after?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Now I'm going to do what I can to share my screen. I've clicked the button. And nothing is happening.
Will you help him?
Sir, it seems that your video is not on. Can you please turn on the video?
It says stop video.
What does it say when you share the content?
Nothing. It just has my mute. So now all I'm looking at is an icon that says Kartiki Yadav, and then I see your small icon.
You're muted. You're muted again. Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm going to click share again. Okay. My computer is a little bit slow because me wanting to do too much stuff. So let's share the screen.
Slow at times.
Yeah. So I will begin my talk anyway, and the computer will do what it wants to do.
Okay.
I have
Okay.
50 slides. We'll see what happens. It's what they call death by PowerPoint. The first thing that you need to know is that wheels. If you picture Gandhi's picture of the spinning wheel with so many spokes, then you'll get the picture of the chakras as things that pull together a whole variety of different entities within the human body. I'll share my screen application window. Here we go. I'm getting close. And so there are 7 major chakras, and there are untold minor chakras. And these chakras are plexi, which form the junction boxes. And so those of you who know anything about electronics or have a home, you'll see that there are wires connected to each other. And those connections run the entire household. So similarly, our chakras are the junction boxes. So until and unless I can get this here, I won't continue to speak without the benefit of the slides. Hang on, let's do this. Maybe that will work. So the first chakra is known as Muladhara chakra. Mula means base, Adhar means, Mula means the root, and Adhar means the base. And so it's our base of existence, and it has 4 vrittis. It is said that the human body and mind consist of 50 major vrittis, and a vritti is a propensity. And so according to this, we have the notion of the Varna Mala with 1 letter of the Sanskrit alphabet that is roughly corresponding as the Bija mantra, restart the app. I'm not sure how I can restart the app. I'm trying. Okay, this is better. Can you see this now? No?
No.
Okay.
Can't.
No, can't.
Not too bad. All right.
I
Well,
think
we'll
you just speak without the slides. Aniket, do you think you can help him?
Yes, I can. Is it possible for you to share this slide with me, Dr. Stephen? I can share it from you.
I previously emailed you the program with the provision that this might happen. So
Okay.
if you can share the slides from your computer, that will be better.
I think you can do that, Aniket.
Yes.
And I'll just tell you next slide, next slide.
Just a second.
Now, right now it says I'm sharing my application window.
Yes,
So-
I see the screen. Can you please try closing that?
All right, I'll close. I'm trying to close. I'm going to click stop sharing.
Please, yeah,
I
click
suggest you share
stop
them.
sharing.
It's clicked and the thing is going around and around. Anyway, so this base chakra has got the 4 propensities: dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. Dharma is the psycho-spiritual longing. Artha is the longing for physical things. Kama is the longing for physical things. Artha, I have it backwards, but that's okay. Moksha is the desire for liberation. The chakra is considered to be square when it's visualized, and golden in color. And it governs the sense of smell. And my video is off. Let's start the video. It governs the sense of smell. And so the chakra itself is located at the coccyx area in the base of the spinal cord. And the functional apparatus that it governs is the anus. And so I like to think of the chakras, so at least you can see me now, so that's something. I like to think of the chakras as junction boxes which join the voluntary and the involuntary portions of the nervous system. And so in the anus, which controls the solid factor, according to Tantra, you have what's called the internal anal sphincter and the external anal sphincter. The internal sphincter, I've already mailed the PowerPoint to him. So Aniket, I'm hoping that you can bring it up.
So can you please try sharing it again, because I don't see it in my inbox. I don't think I have shared my email address with you. I'll share it just now. Is it possible for you to share it?
Yes.
I've just sent you a message on WhatsApp.
I know that I sent it to you previously. I will send it again.
Just trying to look for the file. I don't see it here.
Well, look for yogidocta@gmail.com. And Baba. Let me take some things off of my desk.
You could send it to him again, Dr. Stephen?
I am trying.
Okay.
Sajani, probably he can restart and reconnect once again. It will be okay.
Maybe you could connect once again.
Yeah, reconnect once again.
No, it's not the issue with the WebEx. It's the issue with the PowerPoint. I saw that the PowerPoint is not responding. So you will have to shut down the app so that you can restart. I believe if you shut it down, you will be able to restart it.
Okay.
Aniket, in the meanwhile, you look and try and find the PPT with you.
Yes, I don't see it, madam. I'm trying to see it in the spam as well.
Okay, then maybe we can just have the talk without the PPT.
All right.
Please share it with me if you can.
Yeah, I'm about to get onto my email, hopefully. And so the Muladhara then is the junction of the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous systems. We have two nervous systems in the human body that are more or less corresponding to what people call vayus. The sympathetic nervous system is that which governs the fight or flight response. And in women, it's actually a different thing. In women, their response tend to be what's called tend, and befriend. And so okay, I'm going to try and send this to you. We'll compose. Things are very slow. So the internal anal sphincter is involuntary primarily, and the external sphincter is voluntary. And those of you who are doing yoga or those of you who are going to the bathroom know that you can relax and tighten that sphincter. And wow, this is just so slow. And so that's the junction. The internal sphincter is functioning even though you're not thinking about it. And so that's the first junction of the internal external. And it's governed by the sacral plexus from the viewpoint of this parasympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic nervous system is that which muscularly and is that which relaxes you muscularly and also enables the digestive system and enables blood flow through the kidneys. So that's the system that people mostly think of when they're meditating. It slows the heartbeat down, people become calmer, the skin becomes dry. And the sympathetic nervous system is that which the skin becomes moist and you're sweating and the muscles become activated, the external muscles. And the digestive system slows down. So my email is not working either, Aniket. Maybe I'll do one more thing.
So is it an Apple device?
No, it's the telephone is Android and my computer is PC.
It's a PC. Can you hold down Control Alt Delete?
Yeah.
Press Control Alt Delete. Bring up a Windows Task Manager. Yes,
Okay.
sir, we see it, sir. We see it now.
Oh, you can see my screen now?
Yes.
Yes, we can see it.
Well, that's interesting. Okay.
I think it's Ramesh sir who is sharing it. Is it the one? Can you see the PPT, Dr. Stephen? Are you able to see the PPT?
Yeah, you're able to see.
You are? Okay.
Dr. Stephen, are you able to see the PPT, which is being shared now on your device?
Let me switch windows.
This is not a PPT, Aniket. It's just a screen. I thought I'd share it to help.
Okay.
I don't have the PowerPoint up. Are you looking at my email? If I close out Google Chrome.
You don't have the PowerPoint up on your
screen? This is Ramesh's screen.
No, it's not up.
This is not this is Ramesh's screen, I think, what we are seeing.
Can you try opening the file? Can you try opening the file again?
I'm going to open that file again.
Ramesh sir, can you please stop sharing? See if we can. Dr. Stephen can bring it up.
Doctor, do you think we could carry on without the screen then, as we're having problems? We can have a talk without the PPT.
We lost him. And to log in.
He's not there, yes.
I prepared to have the screen with the...
But why don't you try it now, Aniki? I thought you had a dry run with him 2 days ago.
We had a dry run. It was a successful dry run. He was able to share the PPT, but I don't know what's happened now, because I don't see the video as well. It says the bandwidth on his side is too low.
Okay, then do you think you can share the PPT he sent you?
I don't know to which email address he has sent, because I'm trying to check the school's email address as well as mine. I don't see the PPT being shared with me. And I don't remember sharing my email address with him, because when he said he shared it with me, I was wondering if he has really shared it with me, but I don't see it in my inbox.
Okay, but 2 days ago it ran well, is it?
Yeah, the dry run went.
It was fine, yeah. In the dry run, it was fine.
Okay, so will you just call him?
Yeah, I'll just try calling him on WhatsApp.
Okay, while we're trying to get him back, I'd like to ask every one of you whether you've been happy with all the programs we've had, and if there's anything special any of you would like to have this year. So kindly share that with us. We have some very interesting programs coming up. We have Dr. Vani, who will be talking to us on Sri Ramana. And then we have Dr. Hegde and his team of doctors who will be talking to us on an introduction to Vedanta. So these are some of the programs we've lined up. If anyone would like anything specific, kindly share with us till Dr. Stephen gets back. Anyone? Unmute yourself and tell us, or put it on the chat. Yes, there are some people. Okay. Okay, will someone sing a bhajan? They're saying till he comes. Someone says, could we have a bhajan session? We've organized that. I think Nisha and Lakshmi will be singing sometime in a month's time. But Malati, do you think you can sing a bhajan till we resume the talk? Malati?
I'll sing Om Namo Bhagavate.
Yes,
that's
please
the only
sing
thing
to
I
me.
can just, that's just coming into my mind. Okay.
Okay, just sing that till
yes.
Doctor joins us again.
Yeah, okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Vasudevaya. Vasudevaya.
Thank you, Malti. That was very nice. Is there anyone else who would like to share a song? Any other person?
Thank you, Anshul.
Who can sing well or would like to sing or chant something? Maybe we could have a chanting by someone.
I think Dr. Pashupati is back.
Okay.
Dr. Stephen, can you please speak up?
Is he there?
I see his name. And he's
Yes,
also.
I see your name, Dr. Pashupati. Do you think you could carry on? Your mic is on mute, maybe. Dr. Stephen, can you hear us? Aniket, what's happened, Aniket?
He's come on the video. The video's on. I can see him a bit.
But we can't hear him.
No,
Yes.
because it's muted.
Just try. When I'm clicking on his name, it is only giving me one option, which is mute. So I think he's unmuted.
Unmute everyone and then say, let's see if he comes on. Kindly unmute everybody.
Okay.
When you unmute, maybe we'll be able to get him. Dr. Stephen? Stephen, can you hear us?
We can see him, but even his face seems to be a bit covered by something.
Okay, we can see you now. Kindly unmute yourself.
We can't hear you. Can you just unmute?
Pashupati, can you unmute yourself?
We can just see his
Aniket,
mouth.
kindly unmute everyone.
Yes, I have done it.
Okay, because we can't hear him.
Not okay.
He's, he hasn't unmuted.
Yes, he has unmuted now.
Okay.
Dr. Stephen, are you there?
He's unmuted, but we can't hear.
It's clear,
So,
Aniket.
so can you please join with audio? Can you click join with audio? I'm just trying to make a video call. Just give me a moment.
I'm connecting the audio. And all right, you should be able to hear me and see me.
Hear you now. We can see you also.
Okay. All right, I'm hanging up the phone. I'm turning off the phone. Okay. Now, I'm connected both by phone.
We see you now, but the audio is not okay.
All right. So you don't hear me?
Hear you.
We hear you.
Okay. Is there too much echo?
Yes.
You seem to be on two devices. Can you log off from any one of the devices?
Okay, I'm logging off from my phone. All right, how about now?
Good,
It's
very
perfect.
good.
Okay. So the Swadhisthana chakra governs the liquid factor and the sense of taste. Now, as you know, you cannot taste very well if your mouth is dry. So this is the coordination of that chakra. And it governs the excretion of urine and also the production of semen. And semen and vaginal secretions tend to be white, and the color of this chakra is also white. And the crescent shape of it, the upward facing crescent, is similar to the, somebody's also is on and echoing. The upward facing crescent is similar to the meniscus that you see when liquid is in a glass tube. Now, the internal urinary sphincter is also governed by the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems and is involuntary. And the external urinary sphincter, which is what you consciously control, is governed with striated muscle through your voluntary nervous system. So again, this point is a junction between the sympathetic and parasympathetic and the voluntary nervous systems. It's a junction point between the conscious and the unconscious. The third chakra is known as Manipur chakra, which means the city of jewels. And the Chinese think of it as the triple heater. And this chakra is known to be triangular in shape, with the point of the triangle facing upwards and red in color. It governs heat and light. So each of the different bhutas, each of these 5 elements, solid, liquid, fire, also known as tejas, aerial, and gagan, or in English, ethereal. Each of these correspond to one of the chakras. And we will get into lokas and koshas later on. So the third chakra is considered to be red in color, blood red in color, the triangle pointing upward, and it governs the sense of digestion. Now, the sphincter, the muscle that is controlled voluntarily and involuntarily in the chakra, is the lower esophageal sphincter, which normally stays closed and prevents stomach acid from rising up and causing heartburn. And the way that people can voluntarily open that muscle is by engendering the swallowing reflex. So when you swallow, that chakra opens up, that sphincter opens up, food passes down your esophagus and goes into the stomach. Now, the color of the chakra is red, and red is the color of fire and heat. As you know, infrared, which is the wavelength slightly below red, is the way that we generate heat in so many different ways. So the triangle is in the form of what's called delta, and the Greeks have adopted that symbol as their letter, alpha, beta, gamma, delta. And for some reason, the chemists, the alchemists, and the physicists have adopted this sign to denote or to use when they're talking about heat or change. So this chakra is essentially in the Rajasic portion. And here we describe what's called the 3 gunas as described in Tantra and also described in Bhagavad Gita. The first and the crudest of the gunas is called tamaguna. And that tamaguna is the solid, the inert. Then we have the rajaguna, which is considered to be red in color. Tamaguna color is black. Maybe I'm confusing you with too many colors. Anyway, rajaguna is considered to be black, considered to be red. And that's the fire. So Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, he was manifested with this rajaguna color. So the delta, the red delta in the belly button is what is controlling heat, light, and vision. And so in the realm of the sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system, it turns out that the eyeball is also governed by the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, and also by the voluntary aspect. When you find something that you're looking at that you're very interested in, the eye opens wide and the pupils open wide. And so this is governed by also fibers from the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, which are governed by the adrenal glands. The adrenal gland secretes epinephrine and norepinephrine. I forgot, or I didn't mention below on the second chakra, we have the ovaries and the testes and the prostate, which are governing those fluids, and they govern the sexual functions and the creation of the sexual hormones as well. So back to the third chakra, the adrenal glands producing epinephrine, norepinephrine, and cortisol. These are the stress hormones that increase your blood pressure, raise your blood sugar. And so when you are under stress and having fear, this laja or shyness and this bhaya, this fear complex, are part of the vrittis that are associated with that third chakra. Each chakra has a number of vrittis associated. I mentioned the first 4, dharma, artha, kama, moksha in the first chakra. The second chakra is associated with avasya, murcha, prashraya, sarvanashna, krudata, avagya. I won't translate all of those unless you ask me to. But one can do meditation on these various vrittis with the help of the chakra and the bij mantra, and get control over the various propensities of the human mind and body by focusing on that chakra and focusing on the vritti that's associated with that chakra. Again, we have junction boxes in coordinating. The fourth chakra is the cardiopulmonary chakra. It's known as the anahat chakra, or unstruck. And that's the one where the sense of touch is located. The chakra is said to be smoky or cabbage green. And so my guru has said, and I learned this while in India a year and a half ago. We were giving a talk in the town of Paikmal at a seminar in Odisha. And there was a wind that picked up, and suddenly there was a little bit of a whirlwind, a very small little tornado blowing leaves around. And the lady who was sitting next to me was one of our sannyasinis, Didi Ananda Karuna. And she explained that Baba Anandamurti had explained that these, the reason that this chakra is considered to be circular in color, or in Sanskrit, Vartulam, is because when someone perceives the aerial factor, when someone perceives air, they see the circle of a tornado or the circular vision of a hurricane or these small little tornadoes that sometimes develop in your backyard. And further, the chakra is considered to be smoky in color or green. And I interpret it as that when somebody sees smoke, they are seeing the air movement. And when they look up, they see the canopy of the forest overhead. And so this is part of the green visualization of the chakra, as well as the smoky visualization of the chakra. Now that chakra, excuse me, I'm taking a little bit of water here. At least you can still hear me and see me, correct? I don't dare, if you want to, I will dare and try and pull up my PowerPoint. Otherwise, I'll continue just me.
Yes, please do so.
Should I try the PowerPoint?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay.
Please try now. I think it will be successful.
All right. So let's see if I can do this here. Now I've lost my capacity to see your screen. Oh, wait. Oh, here we go. I am sharing. And right, I'm clicking on my PowerPoint. So all right, can you see that? Can you see the PowerPoint?
I think it's taking a bit of time.
Okay.
Yes, we see it.
So we can see it now. Chakras
Praise.
and junction boxes. Yes.
Wow. Praise
Great.
God. Woohoo. All right. So let's close this box. And now, see, just as I planned it. So they're saying, Badasa Jusamana Shakti Tapaiti Savyang Lakshaye. Obstacles are in fact not your opponents on the path of sadhana, but it is the struggle that rises against them that raises the sadhaka to his cherished goal. All right. So I will backtrack a little bit briefly and so use that. So here's the junction boxes. Can you see this?
Yes.
Okay, very good. This is the electrical connections. I'm running through the slides quickly. And now here's the voluntary nervous system that connects, and you see the brain, and it goes to the arms and the legs. And these nerves exit at every level of the spinal cord and down to the sacrum and going down to the legs. This is the nervous system that governs the capacity to move your arms and legs and smile. Now, this is a picture of the chakras done by a friend of mine, Ananta, Aaron Stengel, with the various colors and shapes associated. And he describes the various vrittis associated with each chakra. And here, although you don't see it well, we have the Ida and the Pingala, which I will now show you here. So we have the yogis describe three major nadis. The word nadi or nod in Bangla refers to a river, and these are currents of energy. So the one here is Ida. And let's pull this down. The Ida winds up in the left nostril. It's also called the Chandra Nadi. And breathing through the left nostril calms you down, and the Ida is associated with the parasympathetic nervous system. The Pingala described here ends, they don't show it, but it ends in the right nostril, and the right nostril stimulates the sympathetic nervous system. And this has been found to be actually true in stroke patients who have a deficit of one side or the other of their brain, and it stimulates one or the other portion of the nervous systems. Finally, we have Shushumna, which is where the Kundalini rises up and that is the spinal cord itself. Now, so these are those. This is the spelling of those chakras. And we have the spinal cord itself. And one of the things the yogis describe in the, let's see if I can expand this here. In the spinal cord is 3 layers. There's Brahmani, Chitrani, and Shushumna. And so there are actually 3 layers of the spinal cord. We have the dura mater, which is here. And the dura mater is a tough layer. Then inside we have the arachnoid, which absorbs the spinal fluid. And finally, inside we have the pia mater, which is the covering of the spinal cord itself. And the spinal cord has nerves running up and down. And here we have the bones that cover. The whole thing is called khanda in Sanskrit. So the yogis perceived these 3 layers, either by dissection or by their own intuition.
Sir, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Can you maximize the screen?
Can I maximize the screen?
Can you click
so
bottom on your right?
Bottom on the right is maximized. Here, maximizing the screen. But I know what you're trying to...
We want the slide to be maximized. So I want you to click on that glass-like icon at the bottom, you see. The other day we did it in the drive.
Oh, yeah. Here.
Yes.
Okay. Well, it didn't change. Here we go. Okay. So this is, how's that?
Okay, I think you can carry on with this. That's fine.
Yeah. I'm gonna hope that I can move the slides now. Now I don't know how to do the next page unless I get out of the screen.
Page down.
I am pushing down and it's not working. So I need to unmaximize the screen. I'm going to go to escape.
Just click on the screen, sir. Use your mouse or the trackpad. Just click on the screen. You will move to the next slide.
Okay, here we go. Thank you.
You're muted, I believe.
Oh, God.
No.
Okay. Can you hear me and see me?
Yes.
Can you see the slide?
We can see.
Can you see the slide?
Yes.
Excellent. God's grace. So here we have the spinal cord here, and we have the exiting nerves. And here we have the sympathetic nervous system. Oops, I have to be careful with my... Here we have the sympathetic nervous system, and there are actually 2 of these. These are ganglia. It's called the sympathetic chain ganglia. And each of them sends fibers to the various organs. And here we have the vagus nerve that's traveling to the various nerves, providing the parasympathetic nervous systems. And here's the sacral plexus of the parasympathetic nervous systems. So you see, each of these organs is corresponding to a chakra, Manipur, Anahat, Vishuddha. And at the Anahat chakra, we have the heart and the lungs. So let's go to the heart is governed voluntarily. When you think of something exciting, the heart speeds up. And when your mind is calm, the heart slows down. Okay, and the lungs are governed. So let's go down 1 level here. Oops. So here we have another drawing of the same thing, but the pictures are prettier. And so we have corresponded the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous systems at the various organs. And now let's go to the Western medicine people have figured out that the yogis were correct. And so the sign of medicine is this junction. So each of these junction points where the Ida and the Pingala and the Sushumna are joined are the chakras, and they're ending in the nostrils. And then we have the two chakras that are beyond the body, which is the Agya and the Sahasrara. So this caduceus is symbolizing the yogic notion of the Kundalini rising and getting full realization. Okay, so we've talked about those. Just here's pictures of the internal sphincter, this musculus, and the external sphincter, which are governed voluntarily and internally. And there are glands that secrete, which allow the stool to come through. This is the rectum. And so the sense of smell is governed here. We have a Lalana chakra, which I will describe later. And now we're going to the Svadhisthana chakra, which we described. And that is governed by governing the kidneys and the ureters and the urinary bladder. And here we have a description of the internal sphincter here and the external sphincter there, which are governing the voluntary and the involuntary portions of the urinary tract. And here we have, just to see in the female, the uterus and the ovary, which are part of that second chakra. Because the first chakra is here. So they say the chakra is at the base of the spine and in the spine. So the chakras can be visualized in the spine as Kundalini rising through it. But the functional portion of the chakra is in the front or in the organs. And here it's like a toggle switch. When you have when you're in the room and you want to turn on the light, you flip the switch, but the light is not where the switch is. So the light is up on the ceiling someplace. So the chakras are a combination of the toggle switch and the functional portion of that chakra. Okay, so here we've just got Manipur, and here's the digestive system. Here's the esophagus, and here's the liver and the digestions governed by the third chakra. The salivary glands are actually part of your digestion system. And here we have a picture of the lower esophageal sphincter, which I mentioned to you before. There are other sphincters which are not governed voluntarily, like the pyloric sphincter, which decides to let your food out into the intestine, and the sphincter of Adi, which allows gall and bile to come in. This one you open up when you decide to eat a fatty meal. You open that up. So here I'm going to describe a little bit of the endocrine system. We have the testicles and the ovary, which correspond to the second chakra, the pancreas, which corresponds to the third chakra, and the adrenal glands, which correspond to the third chakra. The fourth chakra, the pancreas governs blood sugar levels, and the adrenal glands govern, as I said, your fight or flight response, or your tendon befriend, although that's more oxytocin. The thymus gland is actually part of the fourth chakra, and one of the functions of the fourth chakra is vivek. It's one of the vrittis, one of the 12 vrittis in the fourth chakra. Vivek is the function of discrimination, where you understand what is me and what is not me, what is real and what is not real. And the thymus gland is one of these immune organs that secrete antibodies based on what is me and what is not me, what is real and what is not real. So briefly, we mentioned the thyroid and the parathyroid glands, which correspond to the Vishuddha chakra. And the sixth chakra, the Agya chakra, is governing the pituitary gland and the hypothalamus. And finally, the pineal gland is the seventh chakra. And we'll get into this a little bit more. So here we describe the eye and the pupil of the eye that responds to the functions of the third chakra of the adrenal glands and the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems, which open and close the pupil and open and close the eyelids voluntarily and involuntarily. When you look closely at something, the pupil constricts. When you look at far things, the pupil opens up, and all of these adjust the lens. And there are exercises you can do to improve your vision by functioning the pupil and crossing your eyes and learning to massage the lens. So we mentioned the Anahat chakra. One of the functions of the fourth chakra is the pranendriya, which has this feeling of touch. And as we said, this fourth chakra governs the sense of touch, but it's not just only physical touch, it's also mental and emotional touch. When you feel like somebody is a soft person or a hard person, this is your pranendriya. And when you say, oh, I heard that story and it touched me, and people usually touch their heart when they have that expression, it touched me. So all of this is part of this fourth chakra function. And I thank you, Aniket, and everybody for helping me get this PowerPoint up finally with much struggle. So here are the lungs. And the lungs have air exchange. The air flows in through the nose and is warmed by the nose. The nasal hairs protect it. It goes through the trachea, and on both sides you get the bronchi. And the lungs are governed by the diaphragm, which is partly voluntary and involuntary. When you are asleep, your involuntary nervous system takes over. And most of you who are watching me, if you're paying attention to me, you're not focusing on your breathing. So this function is an involuntary part of your nervous system, and it's governed by the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. But it's also voluntary, so it's another junction box for this chakra, which governs the aerial factor, or what we call the Vayu Tattva in Sanskrit. And so you can, everybody take a deep breath, bring your arms up over your head and wake up, as if the excitement of this lecture has not been enough for you. You will wake up. Are you still with me, folks? I hope so. Okay, so this is voluntary and involuntary combined. This is part of one of the chakra functions governing the air exchange. Oxygen comes into these little balloons called the alveoli, and here's where carbon dioxide and air exchange takes place. And the lung is also a very strong immune function, so that's part of that fourth chakra function of the pranendriya, of knowing what's me and what's not me, of the vivek. And just here's another picture showing how the diaphragm in the relaxed state is this way, and when the tensed state, it pulls the lungs down and expands them. And I do teach a yoga teacher training course with all the anatomy, physiology, and philosophy and asanas. So those of you who are interested to do that online, we're going to start another session in a couple of weeks. So get a hold of me, and we have myself and another excellent teacher. And those get recognition by Yoga Alliance in the United States. Here are the voluntary muscles of the lung, the intercostal muscles that you intentionally utilize when you take a deep breath and expand your ribs. And this is part of your voluntary nervous system. So here's the heart with its 4 chambers and the blood going to the lungs and the blood coming back. And so part of this Anahat chakra is the circulatory system by which air, the oxygen and the carbon monoxide and dioxide are transported to and from different parts of the body. So moving along, I'm going to skip this slide, but those of you who want to understand, the blood goes to the lungs, it gets the oxygen, comes back to the heart with oxygen, and then it flows to the brain and to the body, and it loses the oxygen, gets the carbon dioxide put back in. The lymphatic system is part of your circulatory system, and the thymus is one of the major portions of that lymphatic system, along with the spleen. This is another part of your circulatory system, which doesn't exactly have to do so much with the chakras, except that the thymus is the central point, along with the spleen, for those systems that purify the whole body and bring the fluids back, and those are governed by the muscles. The skin has all of these nervous endings which can perceive touch, light touch, pressure, pain, temperature, so many different nerves functioning in the skin, and this is all part of your fourth chakra. Now we get to the Vishuddha chakra, the vocal cords, and Gagan. It governs the sense of sound and the etheric factor. And sound travels through space. which, if you like, I'll give you a talk about the creation and the resolution of the universe as it corresponds to the chakras and from the cosmic mind. That's another hour-long talk. And so that sound traveling through space is more like the electromagnetic vibrations or psychic vibrations. But sound is functioning through the air, and it governs the thyroid and the parathyroids. So here we have a picture of the vocal cords. In the relaxed state, you are breathing, and air flows easily through the vocal cords. These are the arytenoid cartilages and the vocal cords. And when you are starting to speak, they constrict a little bit and they vibrate very quickly. And that enables, and finally over here, and I don't know if my window is blocking, maybe not. And so the vocal cords are constricted. So you have, the vocal cords are both voluntary and involuntary. And again, this is one of the functions of that chakra. It opens when you're breathing, and when you swallow, it closes involuntarily to keep the food and the liquids from going down the into the trachea and the lungs and making you cough. So this is another junction of the voluntary and involuntary nervous systems. In the ear, which is governed by the sense of sound, and here the air flows through the tympanic membrane, which amplifies the motion of it. Oops, sorry. And the stapedius and the uncus and the stirrup, they amplify further and send nervous impulse to the brain. Well, there's a muscle in here called the chorda tympani. And so when you are too much excited, the ear shuts down. And again, this is a function you can listen more carefully, or when the sympathetic nervous system is too aggravated, it shuts it down. And so this is also an area of the junctions of the fifth chakra. So here we have, just to show you the thyroid gland and the larynx, which are located there and governed by the fifth chakra. We have the Lalana chakra, which is a minor chakra. It's located in the soft palate and right up around here, and it governs the efferent functions of many of the nerves. And what's true is in this area, the cranial nerves exit. So in addition to those spinal nerves we talked about, there are 12 cranial nerves that exit through into the holes at the base of the skull or in the front of the skull. And this Lalana chakra helps to govern those. And yogis, when they concentrate and meditate, they put the tongue into the Lalana chakra, which helps govern all these other stimuli. Then we get into the Agya chakra, which is the pituitary gland and the hypothalamus, and it governs most of the other glands in the body. And the pituitary gland, the Agya chakra, is said to correspond to two things. One is para and apara. Apara refers to knowledge of the worldly functions, and para refers to spiritual functions. Well, the pituitary gland has two lobes mechanically, just like the yogis predicted. The posterior lobe governs antidiuretic hormone and governs oxytocin, which is the friendly hormone. And when the nipples are sucked on, the oxytocin releases milk, and it makes the uterus contract and makes people feel like they're friendly. Then we have all these other hormones. The melanocyte secreting hormone, the thyroid stimulating hormone, the gonadotropins of luteinizing hormone, follicle stimulating hormone, somatomedin, which governs the release of glucose from the liver and enables the functions, and the adrenal corticotropic hormone. So all of these, the Agya chakra in the human body governs all of the other chakras directly and indirectly. And what is this malati? Malati, I can't deal with this right now here. I don't know where this came from. Okay, now we have the brain, which you're looking at the primary portions of the voluntary nervous system. This is the cortex. But we have the involuntary portions of the nervous system in the brainstem and the cerebellum. The cerebellum governs the coordination of your arms and legs. And the frontal lobe governs the sense of smell. And the smell function is so near, and maybe I'll show you that again later. It's right next to the nose, so you can't block sensory organs from the smell. It generates your memories immediately. So here we have the limbic system, and it's a combination of the hypothalamus. The amygdala helps to govern the emotions along with the hippocampus. And this is a newly discovered portion that helps coordinate the emotions with all of the different glandular secretions. And they input into the hypothalamus, which then inputs into the, I'll go back one slide. The hypothalamus is here and has its own hormones, which then those hormones go to the pituitary, which tell the pituitary to secrete more hormones. Those hormones go out to the bloodstream. They secrete those hormones, would go to these other glands, and they tell all the organs. So we have a cascading function. So one chakra governs the other. And we have the Guru chakra, which is located and has 100 petals of the 50 vrittis internally and externally. And that's one of the minor chakras, and it's on the underside of the Sahasrara chakra. And here's my guru who lives in my Guru chakra and also lives in your Guru chakra. So this is visualized in one type of meditation called Guru Sakash, which I can teach you later on how to do that. And that's just between the Agya chakra and the Sahasrara chakra, because a yogi, by dint of his effort, can raise himself to the level of Savikap Samadhi, which is the level of the Agya chakra, but cannot get past it to the level of Nirvikapa Samadhi without grace. And so the Guru is that grace, or the Tarka Brahma is that entity which sits between the world, the manifested world, and the unmanifested Nirguna Brahma. Now, here I have a whole PowerPoint, or I have a Excel presentation talking about the chakras and vrittis, and I'm afraid to bring it up. But as I mentioned before, each chakra has got the vrittis associated with it. And part of the yogic practice is to stimulate the vrittis and stimulate the chakra with the help of the asanas. So let's say the shoulder stand governs, puts pressure on the thyroid and the fifth chakra and all the other chakras by inverting it. And doing things like the peacock pose, Mayurasana, and I can show you these asanas in physical form, that stimulates the third chakra. And so by focusing on the chakras mentally, or by stimulating them spiritually or mentally, focusing on them physically with the asanas, or by direct pressure, you can adjust the vrittis. So, okay. So if you have another few minutes, I will go on to the layers of the mind, or I will stop. Maybe I'll just go on to note that the nerves of the brain store your memory, and we have extracerebral memory, which is governed at the level of the sixth and the seventh chakras, and in between your lives, and we heard this talk about reincarnation before, that's your extracerebral memory. The cerebral memory is governed by the nerves themselves. And, I'm running out of time, so I'm not going to get into all of these different koshas, but the levels of the mind, the conscious, the subconscious, the unconscious, and in the unconscious, the astral and causal levels of the mind, bringing you up to the full level of the cosmic layer. They are corresponding loosely with the chakras as well. And here's one drawing explaining how the different chakras are loosely associated with these koshas, these levels of the mind. And finally, the Sahasrara chakra is the pineal gland, which governs the circadian rhythms, the sleep and wake cycles. And these govern all of the other chakras. So the pineal gland governs the pituitary governs all the other glands govern all of the bodily functions. And so the melatonin has got receptors in all of the parts of the body, as well as directly going to the pituitary, and governs whether or not you're awake or you're asleep. And this is the physical correlate for the Sahasrara chakra. And we here have the pineal gland, which has the highest level of blood supply of anything in the brain, and the brain has the highest level of blood supply of any place in the body. And so finally, I'll just mention briefly this corpus callosum in the brain, which governs the coordination between your intuition and your rational functions. It is the coordination between your left and right sides of the brain, and Baba has created, Baba I loosely described as Anandamurti is what I call him, the Cosmic Father, has created a dance called Tandava and Kaushiki, which help to coordinate the right and left sides of the brain and stimulate the coordination between your intuitive and your rational functions. And until brain gym was invented just a few years ago, this was the only physical exercise that could increase the power of the brain. And that, friends and neighbors, is all I have to say about that. So thank you for all your help and thank you for your attention. I hope this was interesting. We will send around afterwards, Aniket will send around forms, or you can put comments in the chat as to what you liked and what you didn't like about this talk, and I would much value that, and I will now prepare to accept questions or whatever you want to do. So Svajati, if I'm pronouncing your name right, you're on.
Thank you. So, thank you so much, Doctor. That was really very, very educative. Being a doctor, you were able to, tell us and show us pictures about all these organs. Thank you so much. We hope we can have another session, which is a little longer, and, you can teach us some of the exercises. So thank you so much. And now it's open for questions. Any questions, anyone? Are there any questions?
Namaste, Dr. Landau. This is Shobha.
Hi, Shobha. Namaskar.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed the scientific connection with the chakras because of you are a doctor, and I'm so thankful for this presentation. But my question is, the third chakra you talked about, the Manipur chakra, is connected to the blood sugar management and the blood pressure management. So how do you make that chakra stronger?
So there are several ways. The first way the naturopathic people will say is stay away from sugar, because it stimulates the pancreas too much. And I've turned off my PowerPoint here. And so the second thing is there are asanas that can stimulate that chakra. Specifically, it's the Mayurasana, the peacock pose, or the bow, which is the Dhanurasana. If you want, I'll demonstrate them for you. Do you want me to demonstrate? Yes, no?
Yes.
Okay, so here's the peacock pose. Maybe I'll do Dhanurasana first. So here we are on the floor. Can you see my body? So you grab your ankles, you inhale, you come up here, and you're placing direct pressure onto that third chakra. Another is the peacock pose. And you raise yourself in the air.
Wow. Okay.
And then the opposite of those is like the, so here's my belly. This is called the Udayan Mudra. And you suck your belly in. So, and finally the Agnisara Mudra. And you breathe in and then out, and you press your third chakra.
Thank you very much.
So those type of asanas and mudras can stimulate that chakra. Also, okay.
Can I ask
Yes.
a question?
Yes.
Yes, Mira here. I want to know for thyroid, They say you can never cure
Anjum,
thyroid.
say
But is
something.
it possible?
They say you can what?
Thyroid. What are the asanas? Can that be cured? Can it be reversed?
Okay, so I don't know the answer if it can be cured. I know that they can be stimulated and worked around. So this is an interesting question. So the asanas for the thyroid would be the shoulder stand, or the Shivasana, or the Ardha Shivasana, and the fish pose, Matsyasana, and Cobra pose. So, and if you want, I'll demonstrate those. And okay, so let me get. I'm on a hard floor. So 1 second. Again, these should be done under the guidance of an acharya. So the shoulder stand. Yeah. Oh yeah, let's.
Okay.
So the shoulder stand looks like this. And you hold that for 2 minutes or so, or more. And the fish, Matsya Mudra or Matsyasana, is like this. And that alternately compresses and stretches the thyroid gland and the parathyroids. Now, I personally just 3 weeks ago had a parathyroid adenoma removed. And if you like, I managed to, I controlled it to some extent, perhaps with the help of asanas, but it got very big and was causing osteoporosis, so I had it taken out. So depending on the type of tumor or the kind of problem, the asanas, I believe, this has not been tested too much. If a person is hyperthyroid, then I would try, well, I just told this to one lady, I would recommend getting it under control with drugs first. And then you can do these asanas carefully, because if you stimulate the thyroid too much and squeeze all the juice out, you will go into thyroid storm, and that will be life-threatening. And so you can start very gently, and you have to work with your doctor to figure out what your levels are. You know, I can coordinate with you over time, but those are the kinds of, also the twist, Matsyendra Asana is considered to be good for all the chakras. And so that will, the twist looks like this. And you can see it stimulates, I'm sitting on my first chakra, the second chakra is squeezed, the third chakra is squeezed, the fourth chakra is compressed, and the fifth chakra is also squeezed, but squeezed sideways, like the others. So I would take this carefully and slowly, monitoring your pulse and blood pressure as you're doing it, monitoring your temperature to see what the asanas are doing to your thyroid at the same time.
Okay.
But it will compress the thyroid, and we know that compressing glands makes them function. And we know that massage is good for just about everything. And so it will tone them. As to how much it will cure, I don't know specifically. So you'll have to work, you know, these studies have not been done, or only a little bit.
Sir, can I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead.
Sir, my name is Anjum, and I'd like to say that kindly put some light on the koshas. What kind of koshas?
Okay. So, okay, I closed down my PowerPoint, so I will just describe them mentally.
Yes, sir.
1 second. Okay, there are 5 koshas plus 1, according to Anandamurtiji. And I know that Patanjali describes 4, I think, and they're kind of similar and a little bit different, but not much. The word kosha means a sheath. So the Sanskrit is Pancha Koshatmika Javisata Kadali Pushpavat, which means there are 5 koshas of the human consciousness, just like a plantain flower. And so the outermost kosha is not a mental kosha. It's called Annamaya kosha. And Annamaya kosha means made out of food. So your body is the outermost kosha. Then we have the mental koshas. The first is the Kamamaya kosha, which refers to, maybe I'll try and I'm afraid to try and bring up my PowerPoint. The Annamaya kosha is the body. The Kamamaya kosha means that kosha which is focused on the outside world. Kama means desire. And so that is, I am looking at your picture with the help of my Kamamaya kosha right now. Okay? Then internal to that is the Manomaya kosha. So when I close my eyes and think of an elephant, I am utilizing my Manomaya kosha to do thinking processes. And I'm not looking at the outside world. I'm thinking of this elephant, or I'm thinking about, the PowerPoint and this and that. So that's the intellectual level. And that's, according to Baba, that's the subconscious mind, because the conscious mind is what is focusing on the outside world. And he uses different language than Western psychologists. The deeper level from Manomaya is the Atimanas kosha. Ati means beyond. So we are now at the level, and this is in the realm of the chakra, is the third chakra. We are at the level of extracerebral memory. So your dreams occur in the Atimanas kosha, and your remembrances of your past lives, and where your sanskaras are stored, where your basic tendencies and the things you have to work out, those are stored in the Atimanas kosha. It's called I believe, the subliminal mind, or supramental mind. Then we have the fourth chakra, and the fourth kosha is called the Vijnanamaya kosha. Vijnanamaya has to do with knowledge and wisdom. And so this is the kosha where you're perceiving right and wrong, and the thoughts here, are not highly defined, but you get a feeling of what's right and what's wrong, what's hard and what's soft. Intuition is also there. Intuition and clairvoyance is clairvoyance is in the third chakra. Intuition is third and fourth chakra in terms of what's going on. The fifth chakra is called Hiranyamaya kosha. And this kosha is just the veil that separates you from the cosmic consciousness. This is just the last point before your mind merges into the supreme entity. And it's called Hiranyamaya, which means it's golden color. And it corresponds to the fifth chakra, or the etheric factor. And the etheric factor is the first thing that was created when God created the world. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And those of you who know about Christianity and Judaism, that's biblical. And that's another talk which I can give you. But that's an hour. So those are the 5 koshas. And then beyond that, we have, and each of the koshas corresponds to a loka. There are 7 saptaloka, saptaloka Brahma Mulam. That's not quite right. But anyway, there are 7 lokas in the cosmic mind, which more or less correspond to the 5 koshas. But that's another discussion.
Just a connecting question, sir.
Yes.
Most of the habits, positive and negative habits, they are said to reside in koshas. Mostly bad habits, which are like too much alcohol or too much substance abuses, they are said to go deeper and deeper by day as we progress. So is there any remedy, or are there any kriyas so that people come out of bad habits, and pranayam, etc., what can help?
Okay. First of all, Baba has recommended, when somebody has bad habits, compliment them on their good habits. Take the focus away from their bad habits. That's the first piece. Second, let them do the Ashtanga Yoga. Let them do all of the practices, and there's lots and lots of practices. And thirdly, it has been shown that satsang is most important because people are doing these drugs because they're unhappy. And they need to have the happiness generated in some other way. And the drugs directly stimulate the dopamine receptors in the brain. And you have to develop other ways to get that so that the craving is diminished, because they're craving, the brain becomes dependent on these. So you have to get another way of supplanting, of providing these experiences. So it's satsang, spiritual practice, and elevating their mind to higher levels and giving them a purpose in life. They have to have a purpose. If they don't have a purpose, then they'll commit suicide, or they are committing suicide in some slow way. So they need to help them find their purpose in life.
Maybe they are trying to get a right goal through wrong means.
Also true. It's looking for God in all the wrong places. Right.
Thank you so much, sir. So nice. Thanks for your time.
Patanjali.
Other questions, comments? Didi, you're saying something, but you're muted.
Okay, are there any more questions, or should we close now? I think we'll close the session. Thank you so much, Doctor. And now I request Sharmila to propose a vote of thanks.
Thank you, Acharya Pashupati, for your insightful talk today. You spoke about the chakras, the colors of the chakras, the vrittis, the gunas, extremely for the technical snag which we experienced today. I would also like to thank all the participants who were present here today in today's program. Or back at Pashupati soon. Thank you once again.
I should mention, those of you who want to learn these practices, contact me and I will get you somebody in Bangalore who can teach you personally in person. And those of you who want to learn a little more about it to get certified as yoga teachers, then we have an online program. It doesn't cost much, and you'll learn all of this in much more detail and be able to help others with it.
Much. Okay, and now I request Ramesh to chant the Loka Samasta.
Thank you, Sajani. Thank you, Dr. Landau. That was very nice. On that note, please sit straight and let us connect with each other as we chant the Loka Samasta. Close your eyes and take a deep breath and let go. Observe your breathing and the silence within. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Brahmarpanamastu. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ramesh. Thank you, everyone, for being with us today. I once again wish you a happy Mahashankranti, happy Pongal, and we look forward to having you again tomorrow. We have the Bhagavad Gita classes. Aniket, will you show us all the posters, please? We have the Bhagavad Gita classes, and then again on Sunday, we have classes by Mr. Krishnapani, Atma Bodh. On next Thursday, we have something on Rumi. So there's a professor who will be talking to us on the poet Rumi. So kindly join us. And if any of you would like to be on our WhatsApp, kindly give us your number, put it on the chat, and we will include you in our WhatsApp. So again, thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow for our Bhagavad Gita classes. Thank you.